Welcome to the Self-Care 101 podcast with your host, straight-talking life coach, Puja McClymont. This show provides simple self-development, supporting you to embody your self-worth so that you can live the happier, more fulfilled life that you deserve without burning out. Thank you so much for listening today. Hello, it's season 2, episode 5. So it's the end of March when I'm recording this show and the sun has finally come out in London. The blossoms have bloomed, the magnolia trees are in full bloom and lockdown is starting to lift. This is an exciting and also nervous time as we prepare for our new normal. It's funny, I've actually quite enjoyed the quiet of lockdown, the lessened pressure to be in places and to do things. It's of course had its downs, especially with seeing people you love, but that's all about to change and I am here for it all. I think spring is probably my favourite season. It marks that new beginning feeling, and with Easter as well, it just seems the right time to clear through stuff and move forward. It's also the busiest time in my coaching practice, which is fabulous. So today we're going to be talking about new beginnings. Let's get to it. Right, so I kind of want to make this show as a kind of guide to the new season. And for those in the UK especially, it's going to be a time to prepare for coming out of lockdown and starting a new normal. So today I'm going to cover reflecting on the past year and reviewing what you can take into your new normal and how you can do this without self-judgement or criticism. And the other thing I'm going to cover is dynamic planning. So this is about creating plans, but being flexible with being able to fulfill them. And the third thing I'm going to cover, whatever you have had on your list of things to do that you want to do with your life, I'm going to talk about how you can take action on them now. So, reflecting on the past year. Now, in order to do this without self-judgment or criticism, you need to focus on the positives. Now, even though it might be hard to see what was positive about last year, there will inevitably be something. Now, I lost a lot of work at the start of the pandemic, and yes, I went into a panic about it, but then I slowed down to evaluate the situation, to look at the facts. Now, obviously, I couldn't control what was happening around me and no one knew what to do. So I just went into survival mode. This meant financially, I just needed to know what money we had, what was going to come in, what financial commitments I could cancel, and what support I could get. And once I'd done this, I knew the absolute financial baseline that my family needed to survive on to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table. Because that is all that matters. We had plenty of clothes, plenty of options for entertainment, books, TV, films, DVDs, toys, and so much more. So we didn't need anything new. After that, I decided to take some time to focus on my health. And this was great, but the weather, I have to say, definitely helped with that. This third lockdown has unfortunately been much harder than the others, which I'm attributing to the exhaustion of the pandemic and the weather. So all that weight I lost this time last year, I've put back on. I am disappointed in myself, but I'm not beating myself up. And why am I not beating myself up? Because what I did manage to do was take time for myself. I managed to challenge myself to prioritize my health and my family's most immediate needs, and of course, serve my clients and communities. That's what was important. So that's what I focused on. And it worked. I've been able to keep my mental health in check. I've acknowledged the harder days, cried if I've needed to, not done any work if that's what I needed. But on reflection of the whole year, I absolutely loved the slowdown. It gave me space to really think about my life, my goals, what I want, what makes me happy, and what I need to do to achieve those things, most of which I already have. There was a lot of growth work on the cards for me last year, which I used to help my mindset be aligned with those goals. And guess what? is working. Now, I won't go into detail about the reset afforded to us as a result of the pandemic because I've covered it in another show, but that's exactly how I've used this time to reset. So I may not have achieved all of my goals, but I have made the changes necessary in my life in order to achieve them when the stress of the pandemic and the terrible economic conditions improve. And I'm content with that because I still manage to keep a roof over our heads, food on the table, and love in our heart. So when you start reflecting on the year gone by, list out everything that was a positive, no matter how big or small. It may take you a few days to put this list together, so just let the things come to you and fill that list as much as you can. Then look at each point and plan how you can take that into your new normal. Growth has a lot to do with self-awareness, and this task allows you to be aware of the positives from the pandemic and that time at home so that you can grow rather than bring you back to where you were in March 2020. If you've enjoyed the rest, keep that in your diary. If you've enjoyed cooking, keep that in your diary. If you've noticed that you need a full 24 hours away from your family, like me, then put it in your diary. The second point I wanted to talk about today was about dynamic planning. Now, I know many of you make plans or set goals, but you might not achieve them. As you've just heard, happens to me as well. Now, as a coach, I can tell you that it's because you're focusing on the goal rather than the outcome. I can say that your goal's purpose isn't strong enough, and I can say that the entire world just went through a pandemic. Chill, babe. When you start planning for the year ahead, be open to things not going to plan. Let me give you an example. I'm currently planning a retreat. Mostly for selfish reasons. I want to get away, but more so because it's one of my favorite things to do in my coaching practice. I love putting together all the elements, the spreadsheets, the room assignments, talking about the retreat. It just makes me feel good. I would have hosted 2 retreats last year, but they didn't go ahead. Now, travel restrictions are bound to keep changing, but so long as vendors allow for rebooking, cancelling without penalty, we can still make these plans, these travel plans especially. The beauty of this pandemic is that the whole world is going through it. So if something doesn't work out, everyone understands. I must say, exceptions to this rule include estate agents, insurance companies, and utility companies. Honestly, I feel like they've been under a rock this whole time, and they maintain their values of screwing us. But I digress. What I'm saying here is that there is still so much out of our control and unknown. So adopting a more flexible mentality towards your life, at least for the rest of this year, will be extremely helpful to you and your mental health. So as a tip, when you plan a goal and you've focused on the outcome, you've created your solutions to the challenges, you've understood purpose, then work towards the goal, knowing that one of those challenges will also be effects of the pandemic. That can take the form of your energy, will, and external challenges like the government closing down travel. Now, this doesn't mean that you have failed. It just means that you'll have to come back to it when you're more able. And that's it. I'm not going to overcomplicate this point. Work on adopting this flexible mindset towards your goals, and you'll be surprised at how much you actually do accomplish. But you need to do it now before everything starts opening up and you get caught up in the hype of new normal and socializing and right now I can set this goal and I can do this goal and I can do this thing because things are back to normal. You've got to establish a flexible mindset now towards your goals so that you are much more prepared and much more in control in a positive sense. So not the sense of, like me, control freak control, but control in terms of it's okay if something doesn't work out. You'll just put it on hold, or you'll try a different way of working through it, or you'll look at your list of challenges and get yourself through towards that goal. The third point I wanted to discuss today was, what have you been putting off? No doubt there is still a list of things that you've wanted to do throughout the pandemic. Maybe it's a course, taking up a particular hobby, exercising more, eating more healthy, drinking less, changing careers, starting that business, prioritizing yourself, or hiring a coach. Whatever is on that list, start making an effort to tick things off. Otherwise, you inadvertently create feelings of failure towards things that you haven't even tried to do yet. And that's just silly. Cross off anything on that list that your heart doesn't sing for, and choose to do one of those things each month. As in, choose to do the things that you want to do each month. Keep the targets and the goals small and achievable, because you've still got the new normal to navigate. We don't know what it looks like yet, so we need to remain cautious of what's possible. Remember about 3 months into lockdown last year, and everyone was working on resetting to live their best lives? How many actually did it? The fatigue from the pandemic was always going to take its toll at some point on everyone. So now is the time to look at what you really want to do with your life and put the wheels in motion now towards making it happen. I have clients who have followed my work for up to 2 years before they've taken the plunge to work with me. 2 years. That's 2 years they've stagnated with their lives, when only 6 months with me will change their lives. I say that now. This is the growth bit. I say loud, proud, and confidently that working with me will change your life, because it has now for many people that I've worked with. So I can confidently say that. And this doesn't mean that they get all that they desire when they work with me. That is still based on goal setting and planning. But what it does mean is that they stop stagnating with their lives and actually start living them. They are happy. They have purpose. They have clarity. They have direction. They have peace. They see that everything is possible. They are supported and they are empowered. Gosh, it just fills me up saying all those words and thinking about the incredible work my clients do with changing their lives towards what they want. Because that's the secret right there. Most people focus on what they don't want, and so the universe gives them more of those things. But when you focus on what you do want, the universe responds and gives you more of that. It's magic. And if you don't believe me, if you're still not convinced by the universe and its effects, that's okay. I'm here for the skeptics. I'm always here for the skeptics. Give it a go. Try something. Something that you say that you don't want in your life, right? I want you to change that up and say that you want something instead. So if I gave you the example of weight loss. So if I say I don't want to be overweight anymore, I'm just going to get more of that. But if I say I want to be healthy, I will eat healthy foods. If I want to be healthy, I will exercise. I will get my step count up. Give it a go. So whatever you've been putting off that would actually make your life better, take action now, today, right now, when this episode ends, and this is a short episode. It doesn't matter which action you need to take, but take the action. Everything on your list is likely to have some sort of process, so they may not take effect immediately, but if you know in your heart, as I've been speaking today, that there is something that you really want to do and you can do, then please take that first step towards it today. This is what it means to live your best life. This is what it means to live in forward motion. This is what it means to be happy. This is what it means to change your life, taking those many first steps. Be who you want to be now, today. Tomorrow it's not promised, right? Life is not a guarantee. No one else is going to do it for you. don't let another year leave your life without taking the steps that make your heart sing. And if I'm on your list, book that call with me today, and I'll be very excited to hear from you. Thank you for listening to the Self-Care 101 podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, rate and review over on Apple Podcasts so that other people like you can find the show. To connect with me, please head over to my website, PujaMcClymont.com, and sign up to my weekly email where I share coaching tips to help you get through the week and improve your well-being. And for daily inspiration, please follow me on Instagram at Puja McClymont. Sending love and talk to you soon.